היה לי קוצים שמזכירים בכוח שלא נותנים לשכוח, דוקרים אותנו ולא מרבים. לכל אחד יש זכות לחלום, סירות נייר במים, רציתי רק לשוט הכי רחוק, אני אדם משום מקום שמחפש לו רק סיבה לנשום. לכל אחד יש זכות לחלום, סירות נייר במים, רציתי רק לשוט הכי רחוק, אני אדם משום מקום שמחפש לו רק סיבה לנשום, רק סיבה לנשום.
Testing, check 1, 2, check. Yeah, it's working.
בשכונה קטנה על מיטה כחולה את אומרת שהכל בסדר אם רק ניתן לזה קצת זמן. תסתכלי עליי, תחייכי אליי, את יודעת כמה זה עושה לי טוב שאת שוכבת לצידי. יש לי רק דבר אחד לומר לך ומכל הלב, את הכי טובה בעולם, אני כל כך אוהב אותך, זה לפעמים כואב, מתרוקן מכל הכעסים, העצב, השקרים שאת איתי אוחזת בידי ואומרת שאת אוהבת אותי, גם אם לא אוכל לעשות הכל, אני מבטיח שאני יכול, מבטיח להיות שלך תמיד. מתוקה שלי, יעצור הזמן ונברח מכאן עמוק לתוך גן עדן. דבר אחד לומר לך ומכל הלב, את הכי טובה בעולם.
אצלנו בגן יש המון ילדים, את חלקם אני אוהב, את חלקם אני לא מכיר, אבל מי לא שמע על האומץ של רן? הוא הכי מהיר בחול, הוא הכי חזק בגן, אבל יש לו סוד אחד שפחד הוא לגלות, שהוא כל כך מאוהב באחת הילדות. בלילות קרים עם פנס מתחת לשמיכה הם מדברים, והוא מגלה למה היא בשבילו כל עולמו מוגן מתחת לשמיכה. אצלנו בגן יש הרבה חבורות, יש כאלה נחשבים, יש כאלה שפחות, אבל מי לא שמע על קופצי הנדנדות? מריעים להם כפיים, מלמדים אותם לנחות, מורמים על נס הדגל, גאוות כל האזור, רק לפעמים כשהם קופצים רחוק הם שוכחים לחזור. אז בלילות קרים עם פנס מתחת לשמיכה הם מדברים, והוא מגלה למה היא בשבילו כל עולמו מוגן מתחת לשמיכה. אצלנו בגן נפרדים בשמחה, כי היום לא ארוך ונפגשים שוב מחר, חוץ מאלה שפתאום לא חוזרים יותר לגן, אמרו לי שהם רק עברו דירה מעבר לענן. אז בלילות קרים עם פנס מתחת לשמיכה הם מדברים, והוא מגלה למה היא בשבילו, היא בוכה כשהוא מציע לה להיות כל עולמו בערב שלפני המלחמה. אצלנו בגדוד יש המון ילדים, את חלקם אני אוהב, את חלקם אני לא אכיר.
אם החיים הם חידה לא מפורשת, והסודות זורמים בהם כמו נחלים, מנסים למצוא את כל צבעי הקשת, עובדים קשה לבנות פה משהו במילים, ואתה חי בזמן זמני ספור בלוח, ומקווה לשתות את החיים הטוב, בין כל אלה סך הכל רוצה לשמוח, ועל הדרך להגשים איזה חלום. אולי אחרי הכל תגיע לשמיים, אולי אחרי הכל תשמח מהחיים, תאמר תודה ותהפוך פתאום למים, ותצטרף לים הרחמים. אולי אחרי הכל תגיע לשמיים, אולי אחרי הכל תשמח מהחיים, תאמר תודה ותהפוך פתאום למים, ותצטרף לים הרחמים, ים הרחמים. השנים חולפות מהר ולא הספקת, ולא נשאר מהם יותר מזיכרון. היית איש חשוב ענק, אך התפוגגת, והשתדלת להשלים עם השעון. אם החיים הם חידה לא מפורשת, והסודות זורמים בהם כמו נחלים, תקווה למצוא את כל צבעי הקשת, תשאיר פה רושם טוב ותאסוף מילים. אולי אחרי הכל תגיע לשמיים, אולי אחרי הכל תשמח מהחיים, תאמר תודה ותהפוך פתאום למים, ותצטרף לים הרחמים. אולי אחרי הכל תגיע לשמיים, אולי אחרי הכל תשמח מהחיים, תאמר תודה ותהפוך פתאום למים, ותצטרף לים הרחמים. תצטרף לים הרחמים. אולי אחרי הכל תגיע לשמיים, אולי אחרי הכל תשמח מהחיים, תאמר תודה ותהפוך פתאום למים, ותצטרף לים הרחמים, ים הרחמים.
ריבונו של עולם, אם נדבר גלויות, לפעמים אין לי כוח בעולמך להיות. אנא מפניך אסתתר, מה אטען, מה אצטדק, מה אדבר. חנון ורחום אין לפניך גלוי, כאן יהודי שהלכות השערה ותלוי, נלחם בעצבות בייאוש המכרסם כתולעת. השמחה נסתלקה ממני וגם הדעת, קולות מהעבר לוחשים לי לעצור, אבל אני מוסיף בחושך לחתור, ושואל ומבקש זקן וכסיל שולח בחיצים, אני הולך וכושל, הוא הולך ומעצים. נשמה קדושה על נתיב כי שבורת כנף, אין תעידי עליי כמה הייתי נחשף, שסודות מעבר פקדו הלילה עצור, אבל אני מוסיף בחושך לחתור ושואל ומבקש בסופו של יום נפלט אל החור, האדמה רחומה אותי אליה תעשור, ואז אצעק ואצטדק ואספר איך בחושך הזה הייתי חותר ושואל ומבקש וכוסר
Good morning, everyone. I would like to invite you to take your seats as we are about to begin with the program. One, two, testing. One, two.
Testing 1 2. We need a little more testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. We need it in the monitor. Testing 1 2 monitor. Testing 1 2 monitor. Testing 1 2 just a little bit in the monitor. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. I think it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to welcome you all to the Aventura Turnberry Jewish Center for this fourth commemoration of the Holocaust Remembrance Day that we host together with the Don Sofer Aventura High School, providing you with the opportunity to listen firsthand to the testimony of a Holocaust survivor. We are blessed with the presence of the mayor of the city of Aventura, together with members of the city commission that want to address the crowd. So without any further introduction, please join me in welcoming Howard Weinberg, mayor of the city of Aventura.
Thanks. Which commissioners are here? Come on up. I need your help. We're going to read a proclamation. Paul and Cliff, Rachel, Gustavo. Ladies and gentlemen, most of your commission. So, yes, that's okay. Here.
Whereas the Holocaust, with the persecution and annihilation of 6 million Jews, along with millions of others by Nazi Germany and its collaborators, remains one of the most horrific genocides in history. And whereas January 27th, 2025 marks the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau, the largest Nazi concentration and extermination camp.
Whereas the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 60-7 designates January 27 as an annual International Holocaust Remembrance Day to honor the memory of the victims of the Holocaust and to encourage educational programs to prevent future acts of genocide and
whereas the Aventura City Commission has demonstrated its commitment to condemn anti-Semitism through the adoption of numerous resolutions denouncing bias, crimes, and unlawful discrimination against Jews and anti-Semitism in all its various forms, as well as Ordinance Number 2023-03 adopting the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance Working Definition of Anti-Semitism, and
whereas on January 24, 2025, a Holocaust Remembrance event at the Aventura Turnberry Jewish Center recognizes the necessity of remaining vigilant against hatred, persecution, and tyranny. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Howard Weinberg, as mayor on behalf of the City of Aventura Commission and the City of Aventura, do hereby proclaim January 27, 2025 as International Holocaust Remembrance Day in the City of Aventura. Thank you, and thank you, Commissioners. Just going to say a couple of things very quickly. First of all, you're very, very fortunate that Mose Bettino is here, a survivor, to speak to you this morning. Ironically, I learned that he's from Athens, Greece. When I first became your mayor, 2022, one of the very first things that I did was I traveled to Athens, Greece for the first Mayor's Conference to combat anti-Semitism. This is before October 7th happened. It was held in Athens, Greece. And just to show you the connection in this world, there were mayors from all over the world there, including big cities like New York, small cities. We've now had 3 of those conferences. I just got back 2 weeks ago from Beverly Hills, right before the fires, from the 3rd one. The 2nd one was in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm committed to making that conference come here to Aventura. I'm going to bother them until they allow us to host the Mayor's Summit to combat anti-Semitism. But in any event, I was in Athens, Greece, and we were at a very, very, very old temple, very old synagogue. There aren't many of them in Athens. And I had on it a name tag, and I had my city on it. And a gentleman approached me. Remember, we're on the other side of the world. And he said, "My daughter lives in Aventura, Florida." I said, you're kidding me. And he said, "And she's getting married soon to a wonderful young man. My daughter teaches concert pianist." And the next day, we came back and he brought me a book. It's the heaviest book I've ever held in my life. It was the history of the Jews in Greece. That book caused me to almost not get on the El Al flight. But it was so warm and it was so wonderful that when I got back, I met the daughter and the soon-to-be son-in-law. We went to my office. Other people call it Moe's. And it was delightful. And then I got an invitation. And in this very building, I attended the wedding. It was so beautiful, but that's the connection, the Jewish connection that we've got to keep. So listen and learn to the survivor story. When I was a younger lawyer, I did 11 survivor interviewers for Steven Spielberg's foundation. It was very important to videotape and digitize all of the testimonies possible because survivors, unfortunately, are fewer and fewer each year. You are so fortunate to be able to hear from one right now. Last thing I'm going to tell you is get the message out. Jews, non-Jews, it doesn't matter. The lessons of history, you've got to make sure because you know there are deniers. You know that those that don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. This morning I'm heading over to Turnberry Resort to welcome an organization of Haitian elected officials throughout the United States. Now, I'm going to tell them where I just was, that I was here. The important thing is to embrace all. In the city of North Miami, there's a Haitian American mayor. You know, many cities spoke out against Israel and the right for Israel to defend themselves after October 7th. But not in his city, North Miami. That mayor traveled to Israel after October 7th, and that mayor wears the dog tags. And you look at him and you might say, why? Well, I look at him and I ask him, why? And he said, in my home country, we have natural disasters all the time. Haiti seems to have a magnet for earthquakes, for hurricanes, whatever it is. And he said, every time there's a disaster, every time the buildings crumble, the first people to arrive, every time, it's the Israelis. They come to our country and they save lives. Because that's what Israel does. That's the real story. That's the truth of the Jews in Israel. So I ask you to keep that in mind. Try to embrace everyone, but try to tell the truth to them as well. I thank you very, very much. And I'll turn it over to your reverends.
Thank you, Mayor Weinberg. By the way, I officiated at the wedding. Please join me in welcoming the founder of the city of Aventura and the founder of our synagogue, whose namesake is Don Sofer's parents, Harry and Ida Sofer. You're seated at the Harry and Ida Sofer Sanctuary. Please join me in welcoming Donald Sofer.
I'll tell you, this is the youngest crowd I've ever spoken to. And you seem to be, and I hope, and I know you will be, the most intelligent. When you get done with the Don Sofer High School, you will be the smartest kids on the face of this earth. Now, I'm speaking from a personal point of view because I came from a steel town outside of Pittsburgh. And I lived in a town which was full of immigrants from Europe and America. They came over, most of them came over because they were looking for work because the steel mills were operating in a very high capacity. So basically, I still was subject to a lot of criticism and persecution from the kids who went to my school. I was the only Jew in the high school. And until I played football, I was in a fight every day because I was accused of killing Christ. And I said, I didn't even know the guy. How the hell would I, why would I do that? So, but anyway, until I became big and strong like I am now, I found out that the only way to protect yourself was to show a figure of strength. And when I look at you kids today, I see how great you are. I look into your eyes and see these are the future of America and the future of the American Jewry, because the only way that you kids are going to have a peaceful life is to show strength. And that is why we keep remembering the Holocaust, because it was something that if the Jews in Europe were strong enough to get together and to fight this madman Hitler, we would have been a lot happier and a lot more prosperous, even though we are quite a bit today. And I'm sure that in my high school, it's not my high school, they just named it after me, I don't know where the hell that came from. But anyway, I look at your faces and I talk to you, and you are a really, when I say this is the future of America, then I'm very proud. So all I can say is, congratulations, kids. You have a great, great honor, and please, please don't let me down. Now, before I leave this portal, that was in a song somewhere anyway. So I have a friend here that was a Holocaust survivor, and he turned it around to where when he was a young child, he left Hungary and then Czechoslovakia. He finally ended up in a steel mill, or not a steel mill, a paper mill in West Virginia. And he worked there as a young boy of 16, 17 years old. And he was subject to his relatives, the ones that are still living and that weren't killed in the Holocaust. He was proud enough and strong enough to create a name for himself in America. He built 2 office buildings. They're quite remarkable buildings. I was a tenant in one, and he collected the rent in person every day. He wouldn't let me alone. And basically, he's a man that I'm proud to know of, and I'd just like to introduce him as my very good friend, Bill Landa. Bill, would you please stand up? That man is a symbol to which you should all follow. He came from being a persecuted young boy and made it, oh, here he is here. Oh. And made it through all the different barriers in life to become who he is today. He's married to a beautiful wife, Carol, and he's a friend that I've always admired. And when everybody mentions me, they say, oh, you're a good friend of Bill Landa. Well, thank you very much, kids. Go continue to be someone and somebody that makes me proud. Thank you. Now, Bill, I don't know, he's like very reluctant, he's very shy, except when he's with his wife, Carol. And then Carol, of course, when she lets him talk, he does say things that are very profound, okay? Bill, you want to say something? You know, he doesn't want to say anything because he doesn't like Carol. You want to say something?
Just to say that everything you said, including my wife and your wife, is 100% so, and we're happy to have our wives come to these affairs, and we're also happy to...
Which affair are you referring to?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm, rousing applause to the founders of our community and to our congregation, the one and only Don Sofer and Bill Landa, as they take their seats, and we're going to begin our program. We'll welcome them back to the microphone at the end, and they'll be here all day. Please tip your waitresses. Just a little housekeeping message. I know some of you were invited to put on a kippah or a yarmulke or a skull cap when you entered the sanctuary. If that's not your comfort level, that's okay. It is customary to wear them in a place of Jewish worship, but if you're not comfortable doing that and you were strongly encouraged, it's okay if it's not your comfort level. I just wanted to make that statement. So officially, once again, welcome to all of you. Welcome to the Aventura Turnberry Jewish Center for our city of Aventura's official and annual commemoration of International Holocaust Remembrance Day. It was 80 years ago, this coming Monday, on January 27th, 1945, that the Allies liberated the largest Nazi concentration camp, Auschwitz-Birkenau. So this day is marked all over the world to remember the victims of the Holocaust, and among them 6 million Jews, and to promote Holocaust education and awareness. My name is Rabbi Jonathan Birkin, and I am honored to serve together with my colleague and partner, Rabbi Guido Cohen. And it is my honor to welcome all of you, the students, the faculty of the Don Sofer High School, Principal Jeffrey McKee, Assistant Principals Pamela Clapier and Dr. Andrea Beck, and our honored Holocaust survivor and special guest speaker, Moises Batino, our Mayor Howard Weinberg, City Manager Brian Peguias, and many members of our Aventura City Commission, from Gustavo Blockman, Cindy Orlinsky, Clifford Ain, Paul Cruz, Rachel Friedland, Amit Bloom, and oftentimes we have our own Chief of Police, Michael Bentalila, with us as well. And as you know, we are gathered here in the Ida and Harry Sofer Sanctuary, named for the beloved late parents of Don Sofer, who's here with his sister Rita, also her parents. And he is the developer and the philanthropist who led to the very creation of this city of excellence and whose name your school proudly bears. It's always wonderful to have you, Donnie and Michelle, as you also heard, in our sanctuary. And I also want to officially welcome our founding chairman, without whom our congregation simply would not exist, the one and only Bill Landa, who you met, who's here with his beloved Carol. His tireless efforts and personal philanthropy and vision made our congregation a reality many years ago. Also want to thank 3 volunteer parents of the Don Sofer High School who work closely with Rabbi Cohen to put this meaningful program together each year. Toda Rabah, thank you to Gimel Bentis, Diane Gleit, and Brittany Beiferman. Round of applause. I hope I pronounced their names right, and if I didn't, I'll get it right next year, maybe. Today we will learn about the Holocaust not from a book, not from a movie, not from a historical document, but we will hear firsthand testimony from someone who survived the Holocaust himself, Moises Batino. Every Shabbat here in the Sofer Sanctuary, we are blessed to pray together with many Holocaust survivors who went on to live long, fulfilling, growing families of their own. Their spirit and their zest for life is an inspiration, as you will soon see. Even though the personal testimony we're going to hear today is from an event that happened decades ago, it's very important that we not think of Holocaust education as only history. We don't need to go all the way back to those days in Europe to find modern-day examples of anti-Semitism, of racism, of dehumanization, and all forms of hatred in both word and violent deed. It's hard to believe that nearly 80 years after the Holocaust, we still see so much hatred and anti-Semitism. I want to just share with you some statistics that may shock you. In 2023, we're still waiting for the statistics of 2024 to be calculated, as that year only ended 24 days ago. In 2023, there were 8,873 acts of anti-Semitism in the United States. 8,873. It includes assault, harassment, and vandalism. That number represents a 140% increase just from the previous year alone, an average of more than 24 incidents a day, and the highest number of incidents on record since the Anti-Defamation League began tracking these statistics in 1979. Attacks against Jewish institutions, including JCCs and synagogues, up 237%. Incidents at kindergarten through 12th grade schools increased 135%. Incidents on college campuses rose 321%. Assaults, considered the most serious incident type because it involves person-to-person physical violence triggered by anti-Semitic animus, increased 45%. Harassment up 184%, and acts of anti-Semitic vandalism up 69%. And just yesterday, the wealthiest man in the world, Elon Musk, tweeted a joke about the Holocaust that made light of the horrible people who perpetrated this genocide: Hess, Goebbels, Göring, Himmler. In a tweet that got 40 million views and 24,000 likes. So some people, as recently as yesterday, think that the systematic murder of 6 million Jews is fodder for funny quips. And it takes courage to stand up to the richest man on earth and tell him he's wrong. Of course, since the massacre of Jews on Israeli sovereign soil on October 7, 2023, we have seen a resurgence of hatred against Jews not seen since the days Moises Bettino survived the Holocaust 80 years ago. Anti-Semitism and forms of racism and hatred are skyrocketing, and they don't always take the form of shootings or hostage takings or beatings. You might hear a comment from a classmate in school, maybe also disguised as a kind of joke. It might be something about Jews and money, or about Jews and power, or maybe about a Jewish nose. It can be an assumption someone makes about a person because of the color of their skin, or the country she comes from, or the language she speaks, or the religion he practices. When we learn about the Holocaust in the way we will today, we not only learn the story of one person's miraculous survival, we also learn how to better fight all forms of anti-Semitism, prejudice, bigotry, discrimination, bias, and intolerance. It is a fight we all must fight every single day of our lives. It's often said that the Holocaust happened because a small number of actual perpetrators relied very heavily on large populations of good people to just stay silent, remain quiet, and look the other way. The Nazis needed people like that to not speak up and not speak out. We hope today will inspire you to do exactly that, to speak up and to speak out in the fight, the daily fight, against anti-Semitism, racism, hatred, and bigotry. May we never be silent in the face of injustice, and may we never again allow an atrocity like the Holocaust to happen again to anyone, anywhere. So at this time, it is my honor to welcome Holocaust survivor Moises Bettino to come tell us what happened to him, to his family, and to our people in his very own words and from his very own life experience. Let's give him a warm
First, I want to welcome everybody who came here to hear my story about the history of the Jews in my time and also about the Holocaust. Because I went through when I was a young man, a young child, about 10-year-old, and it had a big impact in my life. But thank God I survived. I'm still here. I'm from Greece. I was born in Greece. I'm a Sephardic Jew. People, in other words, people who came out of Spain and they went all over to Europe. They went to Turkey, they went to Greece, Italy, all the Balkans in Europe. These are the Sephardim Jews. I'm a Sephardic. And we lived in Greece. I was born in Piraeus, which is a town adjacent to Athens, the port of Athens, actually. And we were living in Athens at that time. I went to Hebrew school when I was 8, 9, 10-year-old. And one day when I was in school, in the Hebrew school, the teacher came and told us, you have to leave and go home because the Germans circle around the synagogue where all the parents, the men actually, they went to sign twice a week to sign the name, the men from 18-year-old to 55. So the Germans brought trucks surrounding the synagogue and put all the men, the Jewish men, they put them in truck, send them to the places of just before they send them to Auschwitz. So they told us, go home because they already coming to pick up families in your homes. So I ran home, and then I saw my mother, she was already waiting for me by the door in the house, because she was expecting me to come right away, because everybody knew already what's going on. So we went around the corner, ran away, but also the Gestapo, the Greek police coming towards us about half a mile away. So instead of going towards them, we went around the corner and we escaped. And that's how we escaped from to be caught by the Gestapo. Anyway, that was the beginning, and we didn't know where to go now. So he went around, somebody that we knew from Greece. They knew us, good friends. They gave us place where to stay in a building in Athens under the stairs, the stairway, for a few days to hide. So we had a few days over there. And then we found another place that, again, from friends. Good. There were good people also in Greece. So they helped us. So we had in this place, this place that we were hiding was against, across the street was the Gestapo. The place where the headquarters of Gestapo, they didn't know that we were Jews. So one day, we were there maybe about a month or two. One day, a Gestapo officer comes to us, and my mother, she was afraid to speak to him in Greek because he had an accent, Spanish accent, because they were speaking Spanish. Right away, you can tell that she's not a Greek. So she spoke to her in French, and he knew French, and he said to her, tomorrow morning I want you to be out, I want this apartment, this house, I want it for myself. So now I had to leave. So we had to leave. Next day in the morning we left, and then don't know where to go. Me and my mother. So we don't know where to go. But then we remember that we have some friends that they were hiding, also Jewish people hiding around. So he went to them and told them that, listen, they chased us from the house. We have no place to be. Can we stay with you? They were hesitating because it's more danger, more people coming in and out and all that. Finally, they told us, stay. Okay. Now, one of my sisters was working in Athens and was coming from Athens to Piraeus, where we were living, and coming back and forth. She was working to make some money to have something to eat. So there were some people who knew us in Greece, who lived actually in our place, in our house, because there was a bombarding at Piraeus, so they came to Athens, so they sent people, like they were forced to receive them. So these people, they lived with us for a while. So these people, the same people, they saw my sister. She's going back and forth with the train from Athens to Piraeus. So they follow her, and then they told her, do you know any Jewish people who live around here? Because they were telling to Germans in order to get from the Germans money or food or whatever. So she, I don't know. One day nothing came out of their mouth, so they follow her, and they follow to where we're living. And then they called the Gestapo and caught us. But I was not there at that noon. Why? Because I was 10 years old. The other family that living with us had also children my age. So what they were doing all the time, we were going out. I had a shelf hanging from my neck, and I was selling cigarettes, candy, you know, in order to make some money for, you know, to buy some bread or whatever. So that was not home when this thing happened. They followed my sister and they caught my family and the other family. So that night I came late, like it was already dark, maybe 8 o'clock, and I knocked the door. There's nobody answer. Knocked the door, iron door, no. So somebody come in the dark, a Greek person, and tell, listen kid, you don't stay here because today the Gestapo was here and they caught your parent, your mother and your sister and the other family. And if you stay here, they might come back and also get you too. So now what I'm going to do, I was 10-year-old boy, and then in the dark, what I'm going to do? So again, I remember a family that were before the war, that were not helping, neighbors. They were neighbors, and so I have no other choice. So I went to them and I told them, listen, they called my mother and I have no place where to be. So they were hesitant. They don't know what to do, again, because it was danger. The Germans say, if you hide in a Jew person, you can be persecuted, maybe killed, whatever. So it was dangerous to hide a Jewish person. So, but this lady, she was really a very, very, very good person in the heart. She had a good heart. But the other family, the husband and the children, they said, no, we can't get it. because the Germans, the neighbors could tell on us, they would catch us. So she said, no, I wanted to save. She put me on the roof to sleep at night. And then I slept the first night. I was a young boy. I was crying, afraid. Worried my parents, what happened to my mother. Anyway, so the next day they saw nobody came to look for me. So then they put me in the house. They say, okay, you stay. You don't have to go in the room anymore. So I stayed with them for a while. So this family, again, they were very nice people, and they sent me also to the Greek school, because I stayed with them maybe more than half a year, towards the end of the war. So I went to the Greek, but told me, don't say your real name, you say a Greek name, like Dimitrios Avierinos. They told me to say to the people, to the other children. So I was over there, and I saw over there a lot of anti-Semitism. Even they didn't know that it was Jew, but they were happy actually that what was happening with the Jewish people, and they had the opportunity to open the doors of the Jewish families and take things, the property, whatever, which we saw after the war. We saw people, the neighbors, they displaying our mattresses, our covers. We saw they came, when we were absent, they came and they took all our property from the houses. So after the war, my sister, I had two sisters in Germany. One was as a Jew with my mother, but she survived. My mother went straight to, she was only 44-year-old, my mother, but my sister, she was 16, 17. So she survived. She worked in the camp and survived. And the other sister was in the Greek resistance, not as a Jew. So she was in an organization that were doing all kind of against the German kind of actions. So she was caught and she was put to court. She was in a court, but she was only 17. And all the other people, they killed them because they were older. But my sister, she was 17. She was a law in German law that not to kill, but to give 50 years jail. So they sent her to Germany. So those two sisters, one as a Jew, the other one she went as a partisan, they met in Germany and they came back. They came back to Greece, and one of my sisters, she got married, the older one, the one she was in the resistance. So, and I was a young boy, so she got married, and then she took me to live with her. Anyway, this family that I mentioned before, the Greek family, that they kept me in the house, 3 years ago, we went to to Greece, I'm sorry. We went to Greece, and the consul in Greece organized a nice getting together all the people from the Holocaust, and also dignitaries from Israel, the consul from Israel, and a lot of other people, and they gave honor to the family that they saved my life. The people, of course, they were not living that time, because it happened many years before. But the grandchildren came to that place in the consul, and they gave them a reward, they gave them a big honor from Yad Vashem, you know. So they were they make a nice ceremony for them, and it was very important to do that because they were really the righteous of the world. They call people like that who save a Jewish life, they call them righteous of the world. So then from Greece, as a 16-year-old boy, I went to Israel. And I was in the army. Time this West Canal War, it was the beginning of the creation of Israel. In 1949, but in 1950-51, I was in the army. So, and I lived over there 13 years. And after that, I met my wife, I have a family, started a family. And then after that, I went to America. Because why? Because I have sisters, the sisters that I mentioned before, they already immigrated from Greece to America. So I wanted to join them, not to be alone in Israel. So then since then I'm here in America, but I visited Israel many, many times. In the school. No, in the room. No, I was when I was by the people who saved my life. I didn't stay more than half a year. But the one thing that saved my life, this is the main thing. The risk of their life. One day they kept me, they saved my life. So this is very important. After the half year, I told my sister, she got married, and she took me to live with her in Greece. No, we're not, the Germans already left. Yeah. Anyway. So all this, I got a big lesson from all this, that we suffer so much just because we were Jews. We didn't do anything wrong to nobody. But yet, you know, they were persecuted by the Germans, and also with the help of a lot of European people, European countries, they helped the Germans. In Greece especially. In Greece, there were a lot of people who cooperating with the Germans, and they told about Greek. They were also about the Greek Jews to the German in order to get money or to get food or whatever. But it was a lot. Till today, in Greece, it's a lot of anti-Semitism. Greece is one of the countries, more than other European countries, that has anti-Semitism, because they have in the church they told them that Jesus Christ was, that the Jews they take one small child in the Pesach time, and they take the kill it, they take the blood and they put it in the to make matzah. Every people, all the people know they were telling this story. It was embedded to them from childhood. They knew that the Jewish people. They killed a small child, and they took the blood, they called blood label. Yeah. Huh? My mother, she did not survive. She is in Auschwitz with my sister, but my sister, she came back. Yeah. And the people, they of course, they separate them. People, older people, they put them away to be killed. And the younger people, they needed some people to work also, to do work. But the intention of the German people was to kill everybody. But they needed people in the hands in order to accomplish what they wanted to do.
Did they know where they were going when they put them on the trains? What did they tell them?
Nobody, if they knew, they would run away, you know. Nobody, the Germans, they did a lot of propaganda that we're going to take you to Poland, when you're going to work, you're going to have a job, we give you land, we give you work, and then you're going to work in the farms. That was the story that Germans, you know, they told everybody. That's what they told us. They didn't know that they were going to get killed. But they already know, in England, the BBC was telling that the Jews getting killed. They know. They know about the concentration camp. They know everything. But nobody was talking about it. Even to go to the trains that they went to Auschwitz, loaded with the people from all over Europe, they could bombard the trucks or something, do something, so they could stop sending people to their death. But they didn't. Nobody did that. Nobody did that.
So you said that you went to a Jewish school, right?
That was when I was.
What happened to the rest of your classmates?
Everybody, there were a lot of families living in Greece. So everybody, first of all, the German caught a lot of people right away, in surprise, like I said before, in the synagogue. And then they went to the homes all over the city to catch families. So whoever survived, survived. And they went on hiding, like we did. But not everybody was so lucky to have people that they knew to be able to give them place to stay. So some people they didn't have, they slept outside in the park or whatever, and then they caught them. So now what's going on now with the creation of Israel, not now, from the beginning, what we see is a lot of anti-Semitism all over, and especially here in America, the colleges, what you hear every day, what's going on, that students, and not just way, I just now read yesterday that the new administration say whoever people from Palestinian who came here to study, and they talk against the Jewish people, they have to be deported. These people, they are with a visa, they came over here and studied in the colleges, they have to leave now. Anyway, so, but still, we cannot help it. Anti-Semitism is all over the world. Even to the Jewish people, they offer so much to the world, the knowledge, they offer the technology, medicine, everything. They share with everybody. But still, they don't, a lot of people, they don't like the Jewish people. That's what we have, we're facing all over the world. That's why we have to be strong now and to be proud that we are Jewish people. And because we came from long way, and we have a very rich history. Our Torah kept us together all the time. This is what really kept us, because we believed and we read the Torah, and this is really why we survived so many generations. So we have to be proud and that we are Jew, and keep your identity. Don't be afraid that you are Jew. And even though the Jewish people, they offer so much to the world, they receive so many Nobel Prizes, more than any other community in many other countries, still, they don't recognize, they don't appreciate. And we are, all the time, they're talking against us, and especially now with the war in Israel, the war in Israel, that caused extra problem, and then the whole around the world is the hatred against the Jewish people, not only in one in Israel, but all over the world. Like we participating in the war, but still, of course, they know that we all the Jews are sticking together, but they don't care. They hate everybody. But of course, also I believe that there are a lot of good people in the world that like us. But a lot of people who are silent, they don't hate us, but they don't say nothing. So these people is like, if you don't say nothing, it's like you participate. You have to say something. When you believe in something, you have to talk about it. So,
Moshe, I know some of the students may have questions about the years that you were hiding in Greece, about the time before the Holocaust, about what happened to your family. So can we take 5 or 6 students who may want to ask some questions? Are you okay?
yeah,
if they ask?
yeah. But
So,
I want to understand, because I don't hear so well.
okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to have 5 students who want to ask questions, and instead of using the microphone, come sit here. Come sit here next to Moshe, because he needs to hear you from a close distance. You want to come? Come. Yes. You can sit there. 5, 6 students maximum, because I know you have to go back to school. Yeah. Let's sit there, and here, have a seat. Who else? Come on, don't be shy. Come, just come. Don't raise your hand. It's not school.
Well, for starters, sir, I wanted to say thank you for sharing your story. It's been an honor to hear your testimony. I think I speak for the entire student body when I say that. My question to you is, when you were 10 years old and you came back home and you saw that your mom and your sisters, they were gone, like, what gave you hope to keep on going and just kind of like go forward in life?
When I was 10 years old, as I told you before, they didn't catch yet. My mother was waiting for me at the door, so he went into hiding. But after that, when they caught my mother, like I told you before, and I was alone, then I went to hide by Gentile people, which took me in and saved my life. But I suffered because I was 10 years old. I don't know, in this our society, 10-year-old boy would be much more feeling helpless. But I had no choice. Even though I was young, and I don't have nobody to cry, to complain. So I did whatever was the best for me in order to survive. So it was not easy, and I felt very bad, but still, I went through these hard times. Anything else?
Thank you. I'll let them ask the questions, but thank you, sir.
It's an honor to meet you, Mr. Bertino. Mr. Bertino. Mr. Bertino. How long? Remember you saying you served in the military. How long did you serve for?
In America?
Yes.
In America, was in Israel.
All right.
I was in Israel in the army.
All right. Yeah, I knew. How long were you in?
2.5 years. 2.5 years I was in the army, from 1950 to 53.
All right.
And then every year you go reserves. In other words, every year you go a month reserves. That time, that was. Every year you go to the army in order to help, the country. So that's how much. It's 2.5 years. That time was the time that you have to serve in the army.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you.
I'm glad you mentioned about the college kids recently in the campuses, and they're protesting Israel. And I know how many of them it's just really gone crazy at this point, where many of them have just gone ahead and just say that the Jewish people are terrible. So I just wanted to say, do you think they'll be moved by your story? So there are many college kids that are protesting Israel after the war, right? And I know a lot of them have just pretty much have moved to, many of them are just attacking the Jewish people in general. Like we said recently with the statistics, and many acts of anti-Semitism have come out of this. And do you think these people will be moved by your story?
Well, it's a lot of young children that are not informed about the Jewish history. They don't know much, but they listen to other people who brainwashing them, and they give them all kind of ideas against the Jewish people, and that's what's happening. Most of the people are uninformed. They don't know about Jewish history, and they because they hear their friends talking like that, so they join all these demonstrators, and they talk against the Jewish people, against Israel, and then we cannot help that. It's all over the world, and especially here in America too. In the colleges, you have the same story. So, but I hope that in the future, these people will learn that the Jewish people are not bad people. The Jewish people offer to the world their knowledge, offer to the world everything they know, everything. So they only get benefit from the world, from the Jewish people. So they should not hate the Jewish people. But this will take time. But anti-Semitism was always, is not, you can stop it, but we do whatever we can to stop the anti-Semitism.
Thank you, and God bless you.
My name is Joshua, and I'm 16. I actually turned 16 this week. You said you were 16 when you joined the Israeli or the Greek resistance, right? You said you were 16 when you joined the Israeli army.
I was 16. I went to Israel.
And what you do in Israel? You joined the army, right?
I joined the army when I was 18. Hello?
Okay.
16-year-old, I went to Israel, and 18-year-old, I went to kibbutz in Israel. And then from there, I was drafted to Israeli army when I was already 18.
Yeah, so my question is at such a young age of 18, what were your goals in life before all the unfortunate events of the Holocaust happened?
What were your goals in life when you were young?
Well, that's a good question. First, I wanted to go to school, I wanted to study, and I wanted to have parents, but I didn't have parents when I was a young person, and unfortunately. But I did whatever I could to learn, to go to school as much as I could, because I didn't have parents to send me to school. So I did in Greece. I went to high school, and then in Israel also I went in the kibbutz. When I went to Hebrew school, and I learned some Hebrew too, and that was it. But I was always, of course, I had to survive in life because I have no parents to help me, to guide me. So I did whatever I could in order to better my future.
Yeah, I like that. I liked how you didn't show your emotions that much, and you just kept going. It's really hard to go through something like you did and just keep going like you did. So I'm proud of you.
I try to do everything.
Sorry, after everything that... my name is Miguel. How are you? Okay. I only have one question. After everything what happened with the Holocaust and everything, what were your motivations for keep going? Why you came to America and served in the army?
I went to the army in Israel, as I told you, and I served also as a reserves, and I had a family. But because I have here 2 sisters already came from Greece after the war, I have family here, 3 sisters actually. So then I decided to come here with my wife, and I have 1 son. His name was Solomon. He's Solomon, and then we came to America. But I always love Israel. It was in my heart, and we went many times to visit. And Israel is really, American Israel is in my heart always. Yeah. And also, after I went through so much during the Holocaust, that gave me strength to survive and to persevere and to go ahead with my life. And I did whatever I could, and to grow up and to go to school as much as I could, and to work and all that. And because life is precious, especially you know that when you go through these hard times, you realize that you have to try to do the best to survive. Does that answer your question? Huh? Hope? What did he say? Oh, thank you. Okay. I don't hear so well.
Hello, my name is Joseph. Pleasure to meet you. I just want to say thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story. My question is, how did you feel after all the events of the Holocaust? I want to know when was the first time you really felt comfortable and you weren't scared?
One thing that really gave me a lot of strength in my life is because I know that we have Israel and exist. After all, I was in the army, I also did my share. But everybody, all the Jewish people they try to do whatever they can in order to help Israel and to have our own country also. Of course, we live in America, and this is a great country. But Israel is something that it's inside our heart. We know that if we have no place where to go, we're going to go to Israel. This is the last place where we can go, because after all this year, the Holocaust, we saw the Holocaust is not a story. It's something that happened. 6 million people, 1.5 million people, children got killed. This is something that never happened in human history. And this was never forget. So that's why we have to be even stronger, to be Jewish, to feel in our heart the Judaism. And never forget that we are Jews. And to be proud of it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yes. So I wanted to ask, what can you say to me and everyone here, like, for people who combat, like, and hearing these comments about Israel, what can you say to motivate us and I guess keep us, like, Israel in our hearts?
That's a good question. What I say is that you're young people, you have a lot of life in front of you, and I want you to be strong. I want you to be proud that you're a Jew and never deny. Never say no, never hide your identity. Be proud because you're born to a great country with a long history, with a very rich history, and we have so much to live for. So be proud that you're a Jew.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you.
It was an honor to hear your story, sir. And like you said before, what you were focused on, what motivated you, what gave you hope when everyone was asking you, is that you did everything you could to survive. And that what gave you hope and what motivated you was like that will to survive, and you did everything you could. But of course, you knew about the atrocities, and unfortunately, I'm so sorry to hear you lost your mother. But in any moment, did you doubt your faith? Did you lose a belief in God? Obviously, I can see everything you've done for like the Jewish community, and then you went and you joined the Israeli army, and your devotion is very clear. But was there any moment during maybe those 6 months you spent with that family that saved you that you doubted your faith?
What kept me going in my life is that I believe always, before and now and now, till my last day, I believe in God. Because this is what gives me strength in life to continue with all the problems that I have in my life. But I have good times. I have family, I have children. I saw good days too. But what gave me the strength is God. God He let me go through all these hard times, and He kept me and He protected me, and this gave me the strength to continue with my life. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you, Moshe. Thank you very much. Let's give Moshe another round of applause. We're going to move forward with the event. We're going to welcome Dr. McKee, who is going to introduce some of the students. But before that, I just want to share very briefly. When this event started, when Diane contacted me 4 years ago with Miss Cohen, who is seated there, and we started planning this event, the school was much smaller. And our main concern was, as the school grows, we're not going to be able to accommodate all of the students in our sanctuary. And in 2-3 years, we will need to move the event to a different venue, because we only have 670 seats here in our main sanctuary. I want you to look around. This is how indifference looks like. This is what happens with Holocaust Remembrance all across the country, all across the world. I know that you're here, and I'm preaching to the choir. And I want to commend you for being here. I want to encourage the teachers to congratulate you for being here. But I also want you to go back to school and talk to the kids that stay in the cafeteria and tell them about what they missed. The unique opportunity of listening firsthand from someone who survived the darkest chapter in the history of humankind. We're going to continue this event as long as we have Holocaust survivors. And we're going to bring second-generation survivors to speak. But we want this sanctuary packed. There are over 800 students at Don Sofer Aventura High School. And I don't want less than 800 students here listening to the testimony of the survivors. So please, when you go back to school, or now, just pull your phones and text them. Upload something to Snapchat, to Instagram before you connect to the Wi-Fi of the school and that's gone. And let them know that you were here and that you heard Moshe's stories. Come up to the bima later and take a picture next to the dog tag that remembers the hostages that we are still awaiting. This list that has been published minutes ago, 4 names, 4 girls, not much older
than the seniors here, 19 and 20 years old, that hopefully they will return to Israel tomorrow morning. It is very important that not only we fight anti-Semitism, but we also fight indifference. This is how indifference looks like. This event with a much smaller school had a larger crowd. I want to see next year 800 students of the Don Sofer Aventura High School in this sanctuary.
Thank you, Rabbi Cohen. One thing, students, I hope you keep in mind is that so many people pour into your lives. They've invested amazing resources, as the Sofer family has done. We've got our mayor, our governing board composed of the commissioners, our city manager, our chief of police, so many people, these volunteer parents who love you and support you, and again, have invested so much. I hope, as Mr. Sofer said, you'll make him proud, not just when you're being watched, but what you do when you're alone, the thoughts that you have, the people that you seek to serve, the pride that you have in your heart. Mr. Bettino said it so beautifully, to be proud of who you are. And he mentioned that specifically to those of you who are Jewish. And I must say to the people who aren't Jewish, like I hear the talk sometimes, the anti-Semitic innuendos, and it really is a function of envy, of wanting to tear down a great people, the greatest people in the history of mankind. And keep that in mind in your hearts, that not just towards Jewish people possibly, but towards others as well, when you see greatness, to celebrate, to be grateful for the contributions in medicine, in technology, in literature, in every important field in humanity that the Jewish culture, the Jewish people have made. Again, continue to celebrate, continue to embrace, continue to appreciate. I hope you all will take time on the way back to our school to thank the police officers who are dedicated to your safety. It was beautiful, the planning that went into this morning. I appreciate that your parents allowed you to come. You know, after some of the recent events in New Orleans on October 7th, I mean, there are a lot of people who, they just don't want to take risks. But the fact that this is the most important learning experience of our school year, and you all sacrifice. I mean, some people, because of the weather, chose not to come. And I get that, but you can't imagine a 10-year-old scurrying to find someone who would take him in, you know, his life threatened, and understanding that he could be putting those people in danger. I mean, as you said, by going to these homes and people taking that risk and taking that opportunity to share their love, their humanity, and love a young boy and the courage of his heart. I mean, it's manifest over 80 years later, just to see how amazing you are, and the strength and the beauty of your spirit. It's empowering. So take time to be aware of those lessons and to be active in reinforcing those lessons, right? We seek light, we seek love, we seek comfort, but what about those who aren't experiencing it? Are you one who would take a stand and step out of your comfort zone, even if you're not potentially going to be persecuted? Subject yourself to persecution to make a stand for others? It's a massive challenge, but a challenge that I hope you embrace. I hope you recognize that there are people who may not have the strength of their spirit, the relationship with God, the strength of family, the strength of the Jewish people, who without your support may not make it through those challenges. I just ask all of you to please make a stand. We have two young ladies I'm going to ask to come up, Alia and Regina. These are the co-presidents of our Jewish Student Union, and they truly are leaders now, and I know they're going to be leaders throughout their lives, and they'd like to share some information with you. So thank you both for being here and for being brave always.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Regina Wolf.
And my name is Talia Soriano.
As the co-presidents of the Jewish Student Union, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to Mr. Bettino for joining us today and sharing his story with us. The Holocaust is one of the darkest chapters in human history. 6 million Jews were systematically murdered simply because of who they were. Today, we had the opportunity to hear from someone who lived through this unimaginable time, who survived against all odds, and who now carries the responsibility of bearing witness.
Events like this remind us of the power of keeping memory alive. In a world where anti-Semitism, hatred, and bigotry still exist, these stories serve as a vital reminder of what can happen when prejudice goes unchecked and humanity turns a blind eye. As the number of survivors diminishes with time, it becomes our duty to ensure that their voices are not lost and that their stories continue to be told. We must take on the responsibility of becoming the next generation of witnesses, sharing what we've learned with others so that the world never forgets.
History has shown us that ignorance and indifferences are dangerous. By remembering the past and listening to these stories, we can learn not only about the atrocities of the Holocaust, but also about the resilience of the human spirit, the strength of hope, and the necessity of standing up for what is right, even when it may seem difficult.
To those who may feel far removed from these events, we urge you to reflect on what you've heard today. The Holocaust is not just Jewish history, it's human history. It's a cautionary tale that belongs to all of us, a reminder of what happens when prejudice and hatred are allowed to grow. The lessons of the Holocaust transcend time and they demand action.
We are here to honor the memory of those who were lost,
to celebrate the courage of those who survived,
and to recommit ourselves to ensuring that never again is not just a phrase, but it's a promise.
However, that promise feels fragile today. We stand here not just as co-presidents of the Jewish Student Union, but as representatives of a community that has witnessed an alarming rise of hatred and anti-Semitism. The horrific events of October 7th in Israel, when innocent lives were brutally taken in a merciless attack, remind us that hatred is not a relic of the past. It exists here and now, in our world and our generation.
October 7th was not just an attack on Israel. It was an attack on humanity. Entire families were massacred, communities devastated, and lives shattered simply because they were Jewish. The echoes of history reverberate loudly, and the lesson is clear. Anti-Semitism, unchecked, leads to unspeakable violence. We cannot ignore this.
And yet, what's even more disheartening is how the hatred has seeped into our institutions. Across universities, places of knowledge and truth, we see the normalization of anti-Semitic rhetoric. Jewish students are being marginalized, silenced, and even threatened. We're seeing protests that glorify violence and justify terror, often in the name of political discourse. This is not discourse, this is hate.
When campuses become breeding grounds for bigotry, and when student groups openly cheer acts of terror, and when the Jewish community is made to feel unsafe in spaces of higher learning, we must ask ourselves, have we forgotten the lessons of history? How have we allowed ourselves to become so unfazed by this?
The Holocaust began not with concentration camps, but with words. Words that dehumanized. Words that spread lies. Words that incited violence. The parallels we're seeing today are chilling and they demand action.
Each of us here has a role to play. We must challenge falsehoods and condemn hate, no matter the source or the target. And we must ensure that the stories of survivors, like the one we heard today, continue to serve as a light in the darkness.
Today, we honor those who perished in the Holocaust. But honoring them is not enough. We must act, we must remember, and we must resist the pull of indifference.
Together, let us ensure that the horrors of the past are not repeated. Together, let us build a future where no community has to live in fear because of who they are. And together, let us stand against anti-Semitism and against hatred, now and always.
Thank you, and may we carry these lessons with us as a call to action.
Let us be the change that we want to see in this world. Thank you.
Both the students and the parents of the school are presenting Moshe with a gift. And before we conclude, I want to invite parents and students to stay there together with Dr. McKee and with Moshe, and with Bill, and with Don, as we light the 6 memorial candles. Please stand if you're able. Candle 1, in memory of the helpless infants, children, and teenagers who were cut down like young trees before their time, before they had a chance to experience life. We shall not forget. Candle 2, in memory of all others who died with their children in their arms. We shall not forget. Candle 3, in memory of all mothers and fathers who were cruelly separated from their families. We shall not forget. Candle 4, in memory of all scholars, teachers, rabbis who were first to be seized. We shall not forget. Candle 5, in memory of the heroes of the resistance who fought the Nazis. So few against so many. We shall not forget. Candle 6, in honor of the righteous among the nations, all those who, not belonging to the Jewish people, they risked their lives to save innocent Jews who were persecuted by the Nazis. May their memories be a blessing. May we always remember them. May we tell the story to the generations to come. This concludes our event. Again, thank you very much for coming here. I believe Dr. McGee is going to give instructions for the egress of the students. We wish that we'll hear good news this coming weekend. I want to thank Chief Pentolila, all the officers of the police, also our security officers here at ATJC, and I want to also thank Cantor Roger Rosenthal, who is doing the sound and the streaming. This is being streamed live. You can go to our YouTube. You can share it with your families, with your parents, with your friends. Thank you all for coming.
Okay, students and teachers, the exit is going to be different than the entrance. You're going to go class by class. We'll start with this end row, and you're going to come through. There's a Holocaust memorial area here. So we want you to come up to the stage and go out that side exit there. And again, you'll be walking through the Holocaust memorial on your way out. Again, we'll start with that end row. So last row, you guys can go ahead and begin. This group will follow them, and we'll get all the way to the last group by the end.
קמלו בינתיים דרכים בהן אני הלכתי עכשיו חוזר על עקבותיי אחרי שלא מצאתי את שחיפשתי לכל אחד יש זכות לחלום סירות נייר במים, רציתי רק לשוט הכי רחוק, אני אדם משום מקום שמחפש לו רק סיבה לנשום. תראי, בניתי לנו בית, כשהוא נולד אני נתתי את מה שלא היה לי, קוצים שמזכירים בכוח, שלא נותנים לשכוח, דוקרים אותנו ולא מרפים. לכל אחד יש זכות לחלום, סירות נייר במים, רציתי רק לשוט הכי רחוק, אני אדם משום מקום שמחפש לו רק סיבה לנשום. לכל אחד יש זכות לחלום, סירות נייר במים, רציתי רק לשוט הכי רחוק, אני אדם משום מקום שמחפש לו רק סיבה לנשום, רק סיבה לנשום.
בשכונה קטנה על מיטה